Hey there, listeners, and welcome back to Fear and Flame Podcast. I'm Brooklyn.
I'm Mason.
Wyatt.
And today we're talking about black-eyed children. So strike a match, light a candle, and settle in. This one is sure to ignite some fear.
Come on now. Come on.
Let's get.
So the history of black-eyed children. Believe this or not, there really isn't much of one. You know, we talked about the mines and underground caves and tunnels. Mm-hmm. We talked about El Paso in Texas. There was a mine where they spotted a child that had black eyes they were talking to. I think that was more early 1900s, but everything that I researched, there really wasn't much up until like 1990s. Mm. So they are more of a newer occurrence or like something that's being encountered.
So they're probably aliens.
Maybe aliens, or maybe they are made up and they aren't real. So,
I can only in that direction.
I don't know.
Definitely not. They're aliens.
Dude, I remember a while ago, I remember reading a story online as a kid. I think I couldn't have been like older than 10 or 11 or something like that. And it was basically like they come knock on the door and, hey, we're lost. Can you let us in? And then like they were about to, but they, basically creepypasta.
And a lot of them are like that. But we're going to start with the first encounter that like triggered all of the other events or encounters and occurrences with the black-eyed children, or BEC or BEK. They call them black-eyed kids, which is just closer to the black-eyed peas. But there's both. So we'll start with 1996, and this is Brian Bethel's encounter. So this is a little bit of a how do you say that? Dramatized. It's very dramatic. So this is supposed to be in his POV, but it's embellished. Mm-hmm. The story is they just needed a ride. You ever get that feeling, that sudden, deep certainty that something...
feeling of deja vu. Sorry.
Do you ever get that feeling, that sudden, deep certainty that something is wrong, very wrong, but you can't quite explain it? That was me, that night, and I swear to you, something came looking for me in Abilene. Is that it? Abilene, Texas?
Abilene, Texas, yeah.
This literally sounds like the beginning of the last story, I feel like. Am I off? Am I wrong?
It probably is.
Yeah.
Something wearing the shape of children. It started off normal. I had driven out to drop a payment in the overnight box at the Camelot Communications building. Just a late bill. The lot was mostly empty. Quiet except for the low electric hum of a distant neon. I left the engine running and flicked on the dome light so I could scroll out a check. That's when I heard it. Knock, knock. 2 soft taps on the driver's side window. I jumped. Wasn't expecting anyone. I looked up, and there they were. 2 boys. One maybe around 12 or 13, the other a bit younger. Hooded sweatshirts, pale skin. The old one stood closer with his head cocked, just slightly to the side. I don't remember hearing them walk up. It was like they just appeared. The older one smiled. Hey, mister. We were going to catch the movie, but we forgot our money. Can you give us a ride to our mom's place? It's not far. Right away, something felt off. His tone was polite, but mechanical, like he'd practiced the lines. My gut told me to lie, so I did. What movie? I asked, trying to sound casual. He replied instantly, Mortal Kombat. Now here's the thing. It was already halfway through, and the last showing had started a while ago. No way they'd be catching anything. That's when it hit me. The fear. Not the jump scare kind, this was slower, colder, like ice creeping through your veins. I glanced at the younger boy. He just stared, didn't blink, didn't move, just watched. My eyes drifted back to the older one. That's when I saw them. His eyes. All black, no whites, no pupils, just endless solid black, like 2 holes punched into his face. I couldn't breathe. We can't come in unless you say it's okay, he said suddenly. My hand was already drifting to the door lock. What? You have to let us in, he repeated. And that's when the mask slipped. His voice was still calm, but there was something underneath it. An edge. Like hunger barely held back by skin and teeth. I didn't answer. I didn't speak. I just locked the doors and threw the car into reverse so fast I nearly tore the axle. I backed out, tires screeching, heart hammering. I glanced in the rear view once. Just once. They were still there. Not chasing, not angry, just standing. watching, smiling. I didn't sleep that night. I still see them sometimes, in dreams, those bottomless eyes and the phrase echoing in my skull. We can't come in unless you say it's okay. I've read the theories, vampires, demons, fae. Maybe they're all true. Maybe none of them are. But I know this. They are real. And they're still out there, waiting for the next window to knock on.
So, did we say what time this was set at?
Did you say 1986?
1996.
96. I was going to say, I don't think Mortal
More-
Kombat
yeah,
released
well,
in
96.
And here's the
86.
thing, too. So, did he say what time it was, or just
It
the
was
year?
late.
It was late. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And I think the actual his recalling, he tells the time, and it is like really late at night.
'Cause I
Like
was
the
about to
last
say-
showing of the movies.
Yeah, I was like, does this guy just, like in 1996, off the top of his head, be like, oh, yes, the Mortal Kombat movies, they all start at 8:30
Nah.
and then 9:45.
He knew it was late, like it had to be the last showing.
Yeah, they released Mortal Kombat July of 95. So, yeah, it'd probably still
Yeah.
be playing in 96.
But no, I think, and every story I've heard about, like, the black-eyed children, and I think that you might get into this, but I think it's always a group of two. One is always, like, the spokesperson. Like, they're the one that's actually communicating, and they have to be given express permission to enter, right?
Which is where a lot of the theories come in with what they actually are.
Yeah.
Because that's why people are like, oh, like, you know, vampires have to
Yeah,
ask.
that's always been a
and,
vampire
yeah,
thing.
things like that. So I think that's always interesting. And we do go into that a little bit.
Yeah, because I think, which I know I said it'd be aliens, but I feel like an alien could just kind of, like, just stroll on in.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
that they're bound to the
I can't pass this door
supernatural
frame.
law of,
Yeah. There are supernatural rules and laws that they have to
Yeah.
abide by.
Yes,
Yeah, I
it's
doubt it.
galactic law. We must ask to enter your home in
Yeah.
order to take your skin. You know, I'm sorry.
Darth
It's-
Vader
It's
has this law for us.
just part of the protocol, man. You
Yeah.
know?
Just like all the guys that do AC units and everything, HVAC, they're like,
Yeah.
you have to tell me that I can
That I
step
can-
past
yeah.
this.
Would
So,
you
Ted,
ever
what if
trust
they are?
a HVAC technician that would be like, you must say that I'm explicitly allowed?
No,
inside your
100%. I would
Keep
not.
standing at the door.
house? No, it's all right.
You gonna invite me in?
It's all right, big dog.
You know what?
You just
It's
run
really
back.
not that hot.
I don't. Yeah.
It's really not that hot.
You just tell me what to do.
From
Actually,
over there.
I'll just pull a YouTube video
Yeah.
up. Don't even worry
It's-
about it.
You know, 85 is not that hot.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Speaking of which, the AC at my work is not great. My new job, they are putting a
Really?
new AC unit in tomorrow. Bless the Lord, because I came home in a fizzy today. Or tizzy? What is it? I was
Tizzy.
ticked.
I think it's a tizzy.
I was having a tizzy. Like, sweat all day at work, sweat in my car on the way home with my leather seat.
See,
It was
man, I don't know
I
terrible.
don't know what that's like.
Yeah, Wyatt in his corner office was NAC. He don't ever have
But
to
you
deal with
expect that.
Yeah,
I
I
am
guess.
cleaning people's teeth with my arms over them, and I stink like a man. There's no reason
I don't
for
think
that.
you can. I don't think it's the AC's fault if you stink like a man.
Anyways, what are black-eyed children? In 1996, Brian Bethel met two black-eyed kids face to face. As a writer for the local newspaper, he shared his experience. It seems like since then, the black-eyed children have been sighted more frequently and across the world. Also referred to as BEC, black-eyed children are exactly what you would guess. Creepy kids with black eyes. The black straight up. They are typically described as being very pale with hints of ashiness to their skin. They like to wear dark clothing to match their eyes. And some
That's so
say some say that they have seen them in outdated clothes. An example I saw was that they were wearing like a t-shirt with an old sports team that no longer exists. Maybe they are thrifters or vintage
Yeah.
kings
Yeah.
and queens.
I'd love some Oilers merch.
Mason
Yeah.
still wears Nirvana shirts.
I mean,
Yeah.
shit, son. I almost wore a Led Zeppelin shirt.
Your eyes are pretty close to being fully
Pretty
black.
close. I might be one, man. Did you ask if I could come in?
I think I've always just told you to come in, so
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
I
You
done
better
messed
train
up.
out of that.
yeah. Usually they appear to be school age, so anywhere from kindergartners to teens, and they like to travel in pairs or groups. Typically, I feel like it's two, but sometimes I think there's been three or whatever. The whole premise of the encounters is that they are typically trying to get someone to let them in, whether it be their house or their vehicle. the kids will come up and knock on your door. And with a usually monotone, he described it as like mechanical type of voice. Their voices don't have a lot of resonance. It's pretty straight. They ask if they can have X, Y, or Z. It's usually an array of reasons like needing to use the phone, catch a ride, etc. So they usually have some reason as to why they need you to let them into your house or your car. It's said that they tend to repeat phrases over and over again. So almost like how we were talking about last time, like they don't know more phrases than these certain ones.
Yeah,
they'll just like say the same thing over and over again.
Because that's the only...
That's the only thing they have. What is that in a game? An MP or whatever?
NPC.
NPC.
Yeah, they ran out of voice lines.
They're NPCs.
Yeah, and then besides their demonic speak of...
It's almost like they don't have original thoughts. As the interaction goes on, the kids usually get more aggressive and demanding, trying to convince their victim to let them in. It is very interesting because from all the stories or encounters I have read, the person usually doesn't notice that their eyes are black until right before they're going to let them in.
So
or
I
they
wonder
just
if
get
it's
that
like
feeling.
Their eyes change black deal.
Like to where they
that's
think
what I
they're
wonder,
about
too.
they're about to get in, so
Like-
they're starting to kind of change form or
Relax or something, maybe.
yeah.
Or it's just something supernatural you don't
I'm 99%
notice.
sure that's the first thing I would see if someone.
Yeah, if you look at because when you look at somebody,
someone's face, the first thing I would
looking at
see
their
is
eyes.
Yeah, and if
The
it's
issue
pitch
is
black,
I don't know if it's something supernatural that you can't pick up on until...
well, and most of these stories, I think, everyone that I've read is like at night, like dark.
So it might be
like
dark.
10 o'clock,
Yeah.
where it's like maybe you can't really see
Maybe.
the kid, and it's like, and maybe they wear dark clothing because it kind of takes away from like, you know,
you're
what I mean?
being able to pay
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah. So you just assume that it's because it's so dark out that you
just
can't see
can't
their
see.
eyes.
maybe
maybe.
they're flipping a butterfly knife around their fingers.
They got a hat
There's
on.
no
They're
idea.
distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you
They're
don't
doing
know.
some sick yo-yo tricks, so that way you're not,
Yeah, one's got a tech deck on the porch.
you know, running around. Like, man, you gotta come and show me that. Or let her on in.
So funny. So a lot of the time, all of the time, before you're going to open the doors when you notice the eyes. Well, then the biggest thing with these run-ins is that they have to be invited in. So almost every single time, they're just waiting for you to tell them they can come in. And a lot like Legends of Vampires, if you don't say that they can come in, eventually they just leave or disappear. So no one knows what the entities want. And I think that's what the scariest thing is they don't know why they want to come into your house or come into your vehicle, and they don't know what happens afterwards. But
Probably try to install solar panels.
they're going to fix the AC
Yeah.
unit, that to say the least.
Yeah.
What will they do if you let them in? It is believed that they are a symbol of death. So bad things follow their visits. They're like a dark omen, such as accidents and deaths. It's unclear if they are their own monster or cryptid, so to say, or if they are just like some people think.
a subspecies.
Yeah,
of
like
something.
vampires, aliens, I saw ghosts, I saw tulpas, changelings, and demons are all considered for what they could be. So whether it is that they are their own entity or something else, I was talking to, I think, Dad about it because I was telling him we were going to do this, and he said, what if they're just all demons? I was like, we've discussed that. Like, it could just be demons taking all these different forms of evil things on Earth.
Like kids.
Yeah, I mean, anything.
I
Anything.
feel like most kids are demons.
Demons
yeah.
could be ghosts. Demons could be vampires.
Close
Demons
enough.
could be,
Yeah.
regular kids.
Yes. You know? I think I do like the idea, though, of it not being... Because you could just be like, yeah, they're like, as soon as they go in there, they're going to like snatch your soul and, you know,
Yeah.
like suck the life out of you or something. But I think it'd be a lot cooler. I like the idea more of them just having a normal visit, and it's just you and letting in bad
Death.
luck or evil
Yeah.
into your life, and you start noticing.
They just raid the cabinets and
Yeah.
like tear through the fridge and
They
stuff.
take all my
use
dadgum
use your phone,
Constables
and then they leave, and then after that, bad things start happening. You get an
Yeah.
accident, you lose a family member. Like, that's a lot of the things I've seen are people talking about. Like, I was diagnosed with cancer after I had this encounter, or I lost a family member, or I got into a tragic accident. Like, just crazy things.
That's
so
kind of like the Mothman. They always say that people have claimed to see Mothman before big catastrophes and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
wild.
I think it's pretty cool to think that it's just like the beginning of like, you know.
And to me, it's crazy too because there's two different types. So either you see them and you never have an encounter again, ever experience black-eyed children again, or you see them and then you start seeing them all the
Everywhere.
time. So the kids on the corner, you drive by and there's two kids sitting on the corner that were just at your house last night and you didn't let them in, type of thing. So it's either like you never see them again, never experience again, or it's you're seeing them all over the place.
Yeah.
No, I think that's why I like just the idea of like to where it's creepy enough to where you're thinking about it, but where you could like almost pass it off as normal. But like, you know, almost where it's just like you can't stop thinking about it, whether it's like just a regular coincidence, like, oh yeah, like these kids just must live on my street, or if it's like, yeah, they're the hell, like, you know, spawn, and they're here to, bring death and destruction. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
You're here
it's fun to
messing
think
people
about.
up. How many houses have you hit already? They're carrying their little thing of cookies with them, Girl Scout badge on.
Yeah.
Let us in.
Are we sure these aren't just schizophrenic people, like, talking
There's
about
a
how
chance.
the local
They're just
scouts
like freaking out about kids knocking on the door and stuff.
I mean, honestly, it's relatable though.
No, yeah, I'm not letting anybody in.
No.
If you knock on my door, you're not getting an answer.
I usually won't even come to the door. I'll just look out the window.
No, if I did, you don't let me know you're coming, you're not.
So that's basically all the history I have. There's not very much known about them. So what I'll do is I'm just going to read a few stories and we can kind of discuss it. But it's just crazy to me that they are newer. They're not something that's been around a long time.
Yeah.
So the legend and lore behind them, not super...
Coincidentally, right when LSD started to hit the market.
Pretty heavily.
Just
A lot of people just leaving kids on the side of the road and stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, the 80s? Yeah, man.
I
These
don't know, I don't
hitchhiking
think
kids.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore, dude.
No, So this is Jason Offit. He is an author and a professor of journalism in Missouri. He has done some research and interviews on BEC and has published works and stories on the phenomenon. So, which I wouldn't mind reading personally. I kind of like scrolled through some, but he has like a full book, I'm pretty sure, about different encounters that he's talked to people about, wrote down, and just basically everything that I talked about at the beginning is just what makes BEC encounter. So like the black eyes, obviously, but two kids trying to get in, all the things. So Jason Effett, he published works and stories on the phenomenon. And he shared David Crabb's story. He published his story in the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. I couldn't find the beginning of it. It was 3 parts. I only got the 3rd part, and I searched, and I couldn't find the other 2. But basically, it said that he had already seen the kids the day before. He decided to just go to another area instead of going all the way home. He was on like a camping trip, and he was like, I drove like 3 hours here. These kids creep me out, but I'm just going to move to a different campsite and not go all the way back home. David Crabbs pulled his car onto the main park road in Michigan's Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lake Shore, leaving 2 haunting black-eyed children standing in the parking lot watching him leave. It's also weird they just stand there. It's so much creepier than chasing. Like chasing the car down.
I would much rather them stand there.
Really?
What are you talking about? You want people chasing your car?
They just book it at you directly.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I mean, I feel like it's just more like malicious.
It's
like
definitely
just,
malicious to stand and stare and smile, but yeah, I'd rather them stand
And just be over there.
trying to run my car down.
I mean, they're obviously
Like
not.
the Terminator
Yeah, that
movie
would
where
scare
he's
me
just
to
like,
They're not gonna catch you though.
What if they're fast?
Yeah, you don't know, like... Brooklyn, they are teleporting like through.
These kids may be on Usain Bolt.
He went 3 hours away.
Accelerate fast enough.
Yeah, they might be straight. Like you turn around and they're there, Brooklyn. I don't want to figure this out.
Yeah.
They stay over there.
Okay, they can stand there. They can just stand there. Instead of abandoning his plan of camping in the backcountry and driving 3 hours home, David pointed his car towards the campsites. To be honest, I can't tell you why, he said. I was just so much in shock that I wasn't really thinking. I just talked away my better judgment. I won't be doing that again. He pulled his car into an empty lot, unpacked his gear, and started the 45-minute walk to White Pine Backcountry Campground. Down the beach, and half a mile into the forest, David reached the campgrounds. It was empty. Usually, this would be a happy thing to me, but this time I wished for all my might for a little company, he said. I picked a site hidden fairly well from the trail, feeling that I didn't need anyone walking along to spot my tent. David set up his tent and cooked supper, all the time wondering if something was creeping toward him in the dark. After enough tugs on a flask of whiskey, he fell to sleep.
That's what I always do.
That's what you gotta do.
when I'm worried about my,
someone coming to find me, I'm gonna just get drunk.
I'm gonna
make it to where I
hammered.
can't protect myself.
Yeah.
Just let them take me.
I woke to a dead fire and the early dusk light coming in, David said. I have to say, I was slightly surprised to be alive. I think he had a death wish, honestly.
He's like, maybe they'll get me in my sleep.
I just black out and just let it happen. Maybe it won't be so bad.
Yeah. Dawn brought renewed confidence. David ate breakfast, hiked back to his car, and made a decision he would regret. He stayed another night. About 3 p.m., he drove to Traverse City for dinner, about 45 minutes away. I went to the steakhouse around 4:30, figuring a quick dinner, a 45-minute drive, and an hour walk would get me to my camp at just about dusk, he said. But I didn't get out of the restaurant until dusk.
Who eats at a steakhouse by themselves?
Drives 45 minutes from your campground to eat at a steakhouse by yourself.
And he went and ate at 3, and it's dead gum dusk. It's night. How long did he?
Maybe it was winter time.
Yes,
so.
dead of winter. He's like, yes, the
Camping
trails.
by the beach. As the growing darkness overtook him and rain began to fall, David cursed himself for not heading home. I was pretty scared again, he said. I think that if nearly all my gear wasn't still at the campsite, then I would have just drove home. When he pulled his... You know what I would have done?
Not being like a thin polyester tent to protect
I would
you
have
from the
bought a
living
hotel
children.
for the night and then went back in the morning to get my gear. Is what I would
He
have
spent
done.
all his money at the steakhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done.
He all of his check.
Motel 6 money no more.
No, he spent 3 hours at the steakhouse.
And
You know how many drinks
$300.
that is? All right, that dude is broke.
Yeah, true. When he pulled his car onto the lot near the campgrounds and turned it off, the darkness was complete. He pulled his cloak close to him, turned on his lamp, and started to hike in the rain. What had worried me was a creeping sensation of paranoia, he said. As I walked, the sensation of paranoia and dread grew. I stopped every 10 feet or so to look around, but I saw nothing. It was hard to hear anything over the lapping waves of the lake and the howling wind of the storm, but I swear, I heard voices in the tall grass. Then, near his campsite, his paranoia became unbearable. My world fell apart, David said. Having one of my strongest moments of feeling watched, I turned around, and there they were. The black-eyed boy who spoke to David the day before stood about 5 feet from him.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's
I was
close.
hoping it'd be like way off and no.
Yeah.
The thing is he is an hour walk away from his car.
Yeah. And here's the other
I
thing,
mean, be like,
too.
get in your tent. Y'all can't come in here.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. So if they have to be invited in,
Yeah, what if they're outside?
but you're
and
nowhere,
outside?
yeah, like they don't have to be invited to the not inside.
Yeah.
So what
So,
happens then? What,
yeah.
hey, sir? Can I please enter your personal space?
Can I enter your bubble, please, sir?
Can I have a hug?
But I don't even like. What do you do? And then they're 5 feet.
Yeah, that's
feet.
very
That's
close.
like-
that's
that's
from me to
like-
Wyatt, is it not?
Yeah.
Basically?
Yeah, just reach out and touch.
Yeah, that is like you're there, man.
It's
Do you
sick.
keep walking?
I'd ignore it and keep walking.
Well,
He said each of the boys stood motionless, staring, just staring, David said. I felt like I was dying. The lead boy stepped toward David.
Oh,
5
no.
feet away, he steps toward him.
that's now we're 4
Got any
feet
games
away.
on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh.
You got any games on your phone? The beam from David's lamp reflecting in its hideous black eyes. Help us, the boy said. Fear gripped David. He couldn't move. Here's the thing is he already saw that their eyes were black in the first encounter. He knows something is not right. The quiet one began to circle behind him.
Ooh.
Nope. Nope.
Working like a pack of wolves.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too. So if they know, like, if he knows, and surely they know that he knows.
Yeah, like,
What do we even?
It's time to start fighting, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
it's not even.
and how do you fight the black-eyed children? I don't know.
They're kick height,
try
you
your
know, get
best.
them in the face.
Said
What
this.
if they are just kids, though, and you are schizophrenic?
Well, you're going to
Well,
figure it out.
Yeah. He said they're in the middle of the woods. Nobody will be able to know it's you. As long as you get out of there quick enough, you'll be all right.
I'm not helping you, David spat. We're lost, the first boy said, his voice emotionless, hollow. We can't find our campsite. Is this a game? David asked. Take us with you, please. We'll die out here. We're afraid. The quiet boy now stood just a few feet from David. The other one blocked his escape. Then things got even weirder, David said. I said, okay, you can come with me. I don't even remember thinking the words. They just came out. So the first thing for him to respond, not even thinking about it, is, you can come with me. So they're doing something to you to not notice the black eyes, but also be apt to help them or to let them in.
Maybe
type of
the
thing.
repeated like interactions or
Something you're just more inclined or more likely to do it because your brain just
That or it's mind control.
maybe
mind control.
it could be.
Because I'm
You're
thinking, too,
fighting your own
or-
self and they're
Yeah, because it's also, or if it's just not even mind control, if it's like almost like, I don't even remember that word for it. I'm so stupid.
No, you're not.
Hypnotism.
Oh, like
To
a
where it's
hypnotism
like-
type thing.
Because where they suggest the idea to you somehow that you don't look at their eyes, and then
What
like, you
if
know, or-
actually what they're doing is you're looking into their eyes, but you're not noticing that their eyes are fully black because something's happening in their eyes to hypnotize you?
yeah, or,
You're on the
once-
right track right there.
Or like your subconscious is keeping you from looking in their eyes
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
knows that once you look in their eyes, they've got control.
Like you said,
Maybe.
he didn't even think about it. It wasn't a conscious thought
Yeah,
to like
just
say,
happened.
yeah,
Said it.
come on.
Ugh,
So-
sick. The talking boy smiled and reached to take David's hand. It was like a physical punch to the stomach, David said. I recoiled at the sight of this little monster trying to take my hand. Then David ran. I didn't look behind me. I didn't know if they were following me or not, and I didn't want to know, he said. All I know is that I needed to run faster. At one point, David crawled into the woods, extinguished his light, and hid in the underbrush. He's like...
Easy going
Like
straight.
the first Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
movie when
this
the hobbits are hiding under the tree and the
So I
ring
watched the
wraiths
trail.
looking over them.
Yeah. I watched the trail waiting to see the kids following, he said. I waited for a couple hours at least. No kids. He got there dark, when it was dark at least, so it's the middle of the night. The cold and rain finally drove him to his camp, where he slipped into his tent, changed into dry clothing, and waited for death.
He
Why
just gave
would
up.
you
He was
go
like, all right.
Where's the flask?
Where's the flask?
Get at it.
So, under the best circumstances, this is a night where a person's mind can get away from them, he said. For me, it was utter terror. David eventually fell to sleep, but a voice roused him. Help us, the voice said. David could do nothing but scream. Please let us in, the boy said. No, David screamed. No, 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 no. It's so cold. Please let us in, mister. David started crying, chanting no, 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 over the pleas of the black-eyed boys. I waited for death, David said. I knew it was coming. At some point, he fell asleep and woke to a clear sky. Outside the tent, the campsite was empty except for the body of a duck. Its heart had been ripped from its chest. David packed his gear, hurried to his car, and drove home. I don't know if I'll ever feel safe hiking again, David said.
You don't say.
Yeah. I thankfully haven't seen any more black-eyed kids. I don't want to think about whether they are demons or monsters, aliens or hybrids. My advice, if you ever do encounter a black-eyed kid, don't listen to it speak. Don't be polite, just run. Run and don't look back. I feel like he is the best example of what not to do in that situation.
And here's the thing too, is like, So was him being like, yeah, come with me, was that not an invitation? Was that not like, yeah, sure, whatever?
I think maybe if he would have went to the car, I don't think they could have went into his tent. I don't know, though. I mean, he said no then, but I don't know. I feel like once you say that, that is giving them permission, kind of.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's very odd.
And then, yeah, I wonder what their mode of transport is. Like, I wonder if they are just, like, ridiculously fast, or...
I think it has to be teleportation. Because he
up.
drove from one campsite to another, and it was miles and miles, like so many minutes away.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess if they're vampires or something, they could be very fast, but I feel like maybe teleportation.
Because, I mean, these fools are just popping up. Do you know do you know how quiet you have to be?
To get 5 foot
To
from
get
somebody.
5 feet away out in the middle of the woods.
And it's been raining and...
Unless they are spirits. And, yeah. Which, I mean, would be teleportation kind of.
Conjure
But,
themselves wherever.
yeah.
I don't like it.
That's the issue, is we don't know what they are, so we can't have a...
Yeah.
That's a good story, though, for, like, the being out. Because usually it is you're in your house or you're in a car.
something.
This one's just interesting that he was out.
Outside, yeah.
Middle of the woods. Which is scary, too, because it's just a reminder that they could be anywhere.
Yeah. So this dude,
Just like mimics.
instead of being like, I'm gonna go cross country and start a new life with a new name and never come back, he's like, yeah, I think we'll go camp somewhere else.
Yeah.
We're going to move up the trail a couple
Yeah,
miles.
We'll see if they pop back up over there while I'm still helpless and defenseless.
Yeah. He only saw them these couple times and never saw them again. But it is still weird that he saw them more than once. Because in my mind, I feel like it should be, not that I get to have a say over what it should be, but I feel like it should be okay, once you tell them no, it's done deal.
It's done.
You can't, that door is closed.
I think you should try it. I think whenever they show up, you should see if...
I'll let them in.
What's it going to do? I've already got...
Let's see. I mean,
You'll have another truck burned down or something, no big deal.
Yeah. I don't think, maybe it'll, you know how if you start hitting negative numbers and like code and stuff like that, you jump all the way up to the front. Maybe that'll do it. Maybe all your cars will start working.
Yeah.
Yeah, what if it changes your luck? That's smart. Yeah. So the rest of these are all random internet stories that I found. So I have a few of these. We can go through a few of them. The first says, I'm a Marine stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I live in the infantry barracks off the River Road. I recently had a rather strange encounter with a pair of black-eyed kids. I live on the 3rd floor of the barracks that have open walkways on the outside and the rooms on the inside. This happened on a weekend back in November of 2009. It was a weekend, so almost every Marine was out, either home, drinking, or sleeping. Only a handful were left in the barracks awake. I'd stayed in that weekend because I was broke and had no money to go out. I was watching a movie when I heard a knock at my door. Figuring it was my roommate who'd lost his key again, I went and opened it. Instead of a drunken roommate, I found 2 little kids standing on the walkway. Only these kids freaked the heck out of me. I don't know what it was about them, but as a Marine, we're always told to listen to that little voice in your head because it might just save your life from an IED, improvised explosive device. Mm-hmm. Right then, that voice was screaming at me to shut the door and lock it. The plea. There was also the fact that these kids had absolutely pitch black eyes. I mean, no white or any other color to them whatsoever. Just black. But I pushed those things aside and asked them what they were doing out so late. They responded by saying that it was really cold out and they wanted to come in and read. I was so confused because I've never met a kid that wants to read. Also, there was no mention of any parents or anything else you'd expect a lost couple kids to say. Mm-hmm. I couldn't take my eyes off their little pitch black eyes. It was like they were sucking me in. I felt horrible and was suddenly frightened for my life, like I needed to immediately take cover. They just stared at me with those eyes. I took a quick look up and down the walkway to see if any other Marines were out, but there was no one in sight. I turned back to the kids who I'd noticed had taken a step forward towards me. I got the feeling that I was being hunted, like these kids were predators and out for their next meal or something. Instinct gave way to reason, and I decided to listen to that voice and shut the door and locked it. I heard soft, constant knocking for the next 5 minutes before I heard my window rattle, and then nothing. I went down to the officer on duty the next morning and asked him about it, and he said he hadn't heard or seen of any kids in the area at all, and dismissed it, saying that I'd probably had too much to drink. Only, I hadn't been drinking at all, or anything. I don't know what those kids were, but I doubt any of the families here would let their kids wander around on a military base at night.
It's crazy to me how little these people, like, note the fully black eyes.
Yeah.
Like, the instant I seen someone with fully black eyes,
That's
no from
there's,
the dog.
like, I
we're
don't
done.
understand that.
Yeah.
I
Even if
looked
it's
past the black
contacts, you're
eyes.
weird. Something is not
Yeah.
right.
So we're not having a conversation. If I can't see the whites of your eyes.
Yeah, we're not talking.
So, I
I feel like I've heard a couple stories from that camp, though, of different...
Camp Lejeune.
Yeah, it's
I
supernatural
wonder
stuff.
if it is and I didn't look into this at all, but I wonder if it's a hot spot for supernatural
I think
stuff, maybe.
I'm pretty sure I've heard a couple stories.
I might need to look into that. It'd be interesting.
And I think that we need to do military
Oh, some military
there's a lot of,
stories.
A lot of
oh
good
my
stories.
gosh.
We could do that next. I want to do at some point night shift stories.
Mm-hmm.
So just people that work night shifts, like whether it be hospitals or police or, night
I mean,
shift
we can
stories
get
are
into
cool.
that. There's a lot of stories of military MPs or whatever seeing soldiers in full gear, but it's from
Years and
Like
years and
World
years
War
ago.
II.
Wars
like-
ago, yeah.
yeah.
So this one I thought was weird because this is also 2009, this next story is. Just some ties in years, but this is an encounter I experienced in the summer of 2009, and it's also in Texas. It says, I was born and raised in the plains of Texas, specifically in an area where black-eyed kid sightings are prevalent. I had heard the stories, tales, legends, whatever you want to call them, since I was a young man, but never truly believed them. The black-eyed kids was mainly something I entertained as a joke or something to get a rise out of people. This changed in the summer of 2009. It was a warm night in June. I was up late, around 2 a.m., as I typically like to stay up late, especially in the summer since it would stay fairly warm even after the sun went down. I had just run up to the store to grab a big fountain drink and was returning into my house through the back door when I was approached by 2 kids, a boy and a girl. I was very startled once I realized that they were there since I wasn't expecting to encounter anyone in my backyard so late at night. The little boy asked, "Could we come in? We need to use the phone. We are lost." This is when I noticed the blackness of their eyes. Both of them had eyes so black they were like pits. So sometimes it is immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like a telltale sign of something that I'm not going to interact with.
Mm-hmm.
This is also when my heart sank. I couldn't believe I was actually seeing them, that they were right there in front of me. As I mentioned before, I'd heard the legends of black-eyed children most of my life. So there was no way I was going to let them in my house. I darted into the back door and locked it as quickly as I could. Once I was inside, I ran upstairs and flipped on the lights, tried to see if they were still outside. Thankfully, by then, they were gone. I had so much adrenaline pumping by that point, though I had grabbed a weapon and began searching the house and making sure all doors and windows were locked. It took me hours to get to sleep that night, and it's an encounter that'll stay with me for the rest of my life. These entities took the form of something most people view as innocent, weak, mild, and try to trick unsuspecting people to do God knows what with them. I am just glad my reflexes kicked in and I was able to live to tell the tale. So this was actually a Reddit user. It's called PM Me Cryptids.
See, but which I don't get. I don't think I like after the doors closed, and I don't see them. I think I'd be fine. I don't think I'd be like I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I have to clear the house now or anything.
If I
Yeah.
knew the legend beforehand, which
Yeah.
he did, I'd probably be like, okay,
but
as long
okay,
as I
we're
didn't let
good.
him in.
Yeah.
We're good.
But if you
invite 'em in.
didn't, I'd be like, these creepy kids are trying to get into my house. I need to make sure all my doors and windows
I'm
and
gonna
stuff are locked.
blow them away
Yeah.
through the door. You know?
Yep.
And
It'll be an interesting way to figure out you're schizophrenic.
Yeah.
They'll never live to sell
at
cookies
least,
again.
at least I'll get all the boxes of Thin Mints.
They're all to myself.
Yeah.
So nobody's getting my Thin Mints.
The next one is by a user called Shred Sled.
Tread
They
sled.
got 2 D's on the end of each
Double
thing.
D's.
Double D.
We gotta be done. We gotta be
What are
done
you
with this
talking
episode.
about?
What?
I had an encounter with the black-eyed children at work. I don't know what to make of this.
What a way to make work a little bit worse.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. Now, I've always been aware of the black-eyed children just as cryptids or demons or whatever, but I work 7-Eleven overnights, and the other night, 4:14, I was doing my shift changes at 2:47 a.m. They are very consistent knowing
Might as well
what time.
choose
2:47, yeah.
Yeah. As I was finishing, my door chime went off, causing me to look up. The door was wide open and creeping shut. But beyond the door, on the other side of my gas pumps, next to my air pump, I saw 2 kids, a boy and a girl. The boy had on normal clothes with like a black t-shirt, and the girl had on a white top, half dressed with the bottom being black. I noticed this and got confused. It's now 2:50, so finished counting the money and they were still there, hadn't moved. Now I already felt like something was off. I was experiencing a bunch of anxiety and my arm hairs were charged with static. I walked out front and I said, "Hey guys, what are you doing out here alone?" I received no responses, which sent me with fear so bad. It's funny the way that they talk. Then the girl, clearly a year or two older, steps onto the curb and she extended her hand to her brother and he took it and hopped the curb playfully so. Playfully so?
Playfully so.
Yeah. "Come inside where it's warm." I said that my whole body shut down.
Are you all right?
Okay.
It's not me.
Pinch both cheeks.
It's how they.
And tell me if you feel pain in both cheeks.
It's how they wrote
They
this.
talk
I need you to
just
try
like
to
you.
pick a couple.
Like,
I'm not following this very well.
too much.
It said, okay.
We might need to start over because I don't.
You're kind of lost. So this guy works in a gas station. These 2 kids are standing out there being creepy and weird.
Yeah.
He goes out there. He says, "Hey, you guys, what are you doing here by yourselves?" And the little girl picks her brother up and swings him onto the curb playfully.
It says, "Let's go inside."
Where it's warm.
Where it's warm.
I think I did an eye thing. Yeah.
My whole body shut down, and I was literally from I'd turn a corner to a bear. I never felt more fear in my entire life. They turned a corner and saw a bear.
They're just 2 kids outside,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I pulled myself literally by the door handle, feeling like a bag of rocks inside. The second I was inside, the fear subsided. I ran behind my counter so fast. I sat there and watched them cross over to the next curb, 305, towards the building, but never saw them emerge again. I have to go back to work tonight. I've been off since then, and I'm terrified. I invited them in. So dang it, am I in trouble? My cats have been hissing at home. Nothing when I'm home alone. My cats have been hissing at nothing when I'm home alone.
Good. Right.
Maybe it is me.
The Oklahoma education system fails with it.
It's they have no commas or anything. There's no grammatical structure to this.
Yeah.
I think they didn't come in or towards the front of my store because it got so much lighting. I think the heavy lighting stopped that encounter. I also has my boss roll back the cameras and they saw nothing. She thinks I'm crazy. So does everyone else. Except maybe people who have experienced this. I know people have. I'm worried about the work. I should not have put the story in because this is the worst ever.
Yeah.
It's I know I'm going to my
It could have
death.
just been 2 kids.
It's eating my
They
chest.
don't even.
That's
they're
a
like
Gen Z gas station worker right there.
And they didn't even say they had black eyes.
Yeah, it's just I
Did
saw
they?
2 kids and
Did they?
I don't remember you ever saying black eyes.
No, they
It's
didn't.
Yeah, just 2 kids that.
Yeah.
This is definitely a schizophrenic account.
This guy just.
They said I has my boss.
I has.
I had my boss.
Literally something.
They talk just like you.
Do I say
literally.
You say like a lot.
You
I
like
say
a lot.
kinda a lot.
Pretty valley girly.
Very kinda. I say kinda a
Very
lot and
kinda was like.
So kinda
Yeah. For real, girl.
Let's move on. That was terrible. I'm so sorry. I thought that I read it, but I read these late at night whenever I'm picking the stories out. So maybe my brain was just
start
fixing
taking
it
your
for me.
Ambien after. You.
Did you copy and paste this, or was just you?
I copied. I know I
free
copied.
flowing?
Actually, that was a story that I wrote.
Yeah, I could.
No, I copy and pasted it.
It's funny because Brooklyn's had a bad track record with young children at workplaces.
I really have, but they've never had black eyes. So
This episode might need to go.
he always jokes about me whenever I worked at the pharmacy giving kids
Yeah,
gummies.
she'd give
You
kids.
give kids weed gummies? That's
Weed
hilarious.
No, they weren't weed gummies, but the parent. So let's just preface this. Whenever I worked at the
You'd be
pharmacy,
great at Dank.
it was a retail
At the
pharmacy.
Midwest
No.
Grass Station.
It was a retail pharmacy. So it wasn't just like prescriptions. We had candy,
You had all
snacks,
kinds of drugs.
Yeah.
socks.
So we carry crack cocaine and crack cocaine.
Crack
And
cocaine and crack
we would
cocaine.
get seasonal candy, and I'm pretty sure this was Easter time. So we had a bowl of these candy sour candy gummies. We'd keep a lid on it, and there's like a little
Scooper.
scooper type of thing. And when kiddos would come in, or I mean adults if they wanted one, I'd be like, "Oh, do you guys want a piece of candy?" And I'd scoop them one out and give it to them. Well, the mom comes up to me as I'm about to hand her kids these candy. Does that have cannabis in it? Are you giving my kids weed gummies? Lady, no,
It's a
I'm
jar
not going to
full
give your
of
kid
This is a pharmacy. We have better access to everything you can
Yeah.
think of.
literally so much
Said,
worse.
This is straight antidepressant.
These are mommy's happy.
Benzos
Yeah.
over these gums.
You think I'd give it? You think I don't think I'm weed? You kidding me? You know what we got back here?
Now when I think about it, yeah.
I dusted
honestly.
these with the strongest laxative on
Yeah.
the market.
Said
I'm only giving
this
them
is
to
the
kids.
roulette gummies. I just started grabbing pills and dumping them
These
in.
are the roulette gummies.
Good luck.
It's like the jelly beans
Yeah.
that one of they
Oh,
might be
the-
good, they might not.
Yeah. Do you
The
get?
Bean Boozled.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like, do you get the opioid or do you get, the laxative?
Maybe just blood pressure
You
medication.
might get both.
Or nothing at all,
Nothing
Yeah.
at all.
if you're lucky.
Yeah, but not cannabis. Are you kidding me? What kind of establishment do you think this is?
What kind of establishment do you
Yeah.
think we are?
We could crack. We could put anything in.
Yeah.
It was
limit
literally
yourself
just
to
regular
THC.
sour gummies.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're from Russell Stover. They were the
Probably.
best gummies. They're so expensive. They probably costed more than what it would have been to give kids weed gummies. Honestly.
I mean, heck.
No THC in that? No
If you're gonna
way.
have free drugs,
Yeah.
your business must be doing great
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, you're running a heck of a pharmacy.
I mean, shoot,
'Cause they
son,
charge
we gotta
me
give
every
this
time.
away. We've got way too many of this. What do they call it? Opioids? Yeah. The rep said if I give enough away that they'll just,
Give me some
I'll
for
get
free.
like some free stuff. So yeah, make sure we're giving those out to every
I
kid.
sell another 10 bottles and I get the hat.
Yeah.
So I've just
let's
been
start-
passing them out
Let's
instead.
pass those out as much as possible. I'll write the scripts back here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Timmy, you said you have a headache.
Oxycontin.
Oh, 2 bottles. Some Xanax. Okay.
I'm gonna get that free hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So this is the last story. This one's longer, but it's the last one. It's from a user called Synther, but they have like a 3 as the E.
Seether or Synther?
Synth, like SYNTH 3R. I thought that the black-eyed children were just an urban legend until I met one. If you've ever heard of Cannock Chase in the United Kingdom, then you have probably also heard of a lot of ghost stories surrounding it. The most famous one, however, has to be about the black-eyed children of Cannock Chase. I have heard a lot of the stories but never really believed in it myself. Me and my friends Sam and Becky run a fairly successful paranormal YouTube channel. We mostly fill around the West, Midlands, and in haunted locations. We mainly just do stuff like using a Ouija board, asking spirits to communicate with us, and pretending that we're making contact with them. Me and Becky will be the people on the channel who go out and try to communicate with the spirits. And
Just
Sam,
inviting evil. That's
yeah. Which I
boy,
think
bro.
this is a r/no sleep story. Just so you guys know, I'm assuming
okay.
this is. I don't think this is true.
Yeah, because British people are not real.
Yeah.
But Cannock Chase in the United Kingdom is real, and they do have black-eyed children sightings. And they think it has to do with a murder that happened, or some murders that happened there.
Really?
So if you wanted to look into that, it's really a really sad murder case story. So I didn't want to get into it too much, too
Oh,
heavy.
was it
But
really sad? They got stabbed, mate.
it was children.
Oh,
Boy,
and they
bro,
were
let us in
essaying-
for some beans
I'm
and
pretty
toast.
sure-
Wow. Way to bring the mood of the podcast down.
And I
Beans and toast.
should have paid the TV license, I reckon.
Whatever.
Should have got the telly license paid.
Me.
Did you lose your spot?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Obviously.
Me and Becky will be the people on the channel who go out and try to communicate with the spirits, and Sam is the cameraman who occasionally throws a rock in the background so we can all act startled and go, "What was that?" It gets us some fairly good views. Enough at least that it's a decent source of income on top of our day jobs. What are we doing with our lives?
we do this for free.
Yeah.
We don't get a cent out of this.
We were celebrating our 4th anniversary of doing this YouTube channel soon, and so we wanted to do a special video. Living in Wolverhampton, Cannock Chase is about half an
You
hour
can't tell
drive
me
away.
that's a real place.
Wolverhampton?
They come up with
Wolverhampton,
anything
Cannock
over
Chase,
there, man.
what?
I don't know. So it made sense to do it in such a popular location. We arrived there dead on midnight and filmed for a few hours with nothing happening. During our usual Ouija board ritual, we called on the black-eyed children to make contact with us. We mocked and imitated them, making contact with us, and even had Becky act like she had been possessed.
Wow.
When we
Oh
finished,
my
we
God,
decided...
Becky.
Oh my
Look at
gosh.
that ghost.
We had
Oh, bro, I
decided...
think there's some spirits over there, bro.
Becky! That was terrible.
That was-
I'm so sorry. When we were finished, we decided to head back to our car. We were having a bit of a good laugh. A bit of a good laugh.
Oh, we got a little bit of wee laugh out of that.
A bit of a good laugh, didn't we? About the whole thing, and Sam was going to take the footage home with him to edit. When we arrived at our car, Becky noticed a couple of kids, who must have been no older than 15 in the background. They were slowly making their way to the car. Sam made a comment about how that was kind of ironic and a little bit creepy, but we got in our car and drove off without waiting to see what they wanted.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a
Good idea.
I know, kind of an a-hole thing to do. But we didn't want to become the victims
But
of
if
a
they
robbery.
were no more than 15, then they were.
They got it.
They were close to 15. So
They'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It's the Great Britain. They don't even have guns over there. What do they go?
Yeah,
They'll be all right.
yeah, you're
They
fine.
Be all right.
The next night, I was lying in bed when all of a sudden my dog started going absolutely crazy downstairs.
Well, my pug's making a royal racket.
I immediately thought pug too.
Cheryl, get the 9-blade.
Oh no!
I've got a few intruders to slice and dice. Have a little
Hell's
jelly
Kitchen,
boy.
eh?
Said.
Is Hell's Kitchen? He's British, right? Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah,
yeah.
something over there.
Yeah.
European of some kind.
Oh yeah. Cheryl, get my license knife.
I went down to see what was going on. As I got closer, I remember this immense feeling of terror coming over me. My dog was facing the door, hackles up. I don't know if that means his hair or...
Yeah, the hair around
Okay.
the head.
They can't breathe very well.
My
Yeah.
dog was hacking up something at the door. There was a knock on the door. I looked out the window and I immediately felt sick to my stomach.
It's the TV license people.
They're asking for my card information again.
Said you'll never get my 15 pence.
2 children, one boy around 15 and one girl who must have been no older than 11, were standing outside. You must let us in, the boy said. We need to call our mother. The way that we need to ring Mum. The way that he spoke was not typical of children from Wolverhampton at all. He sounded posh, but something was off in the tone.
Up-class.
He was high class. I can't quite make out of
My
that,
mother.
though. Why do you need to call your mom? I asked. This time the girl spoke. You must let us in, she said. Our mum will be very worried. I felt my hand going for the door. I was terrified. In my subconscious, I knew what they were exactly, but I was almost like in a trance. It was oblivious to my dog going crazy behind me when all of a sudden he done something that he's never done before. He bit me in the back of the leg. He bit me so hard that it drew blood.
Dang.
Yeah. That pug, man, I didn't even know they had teeth.
Be putting that little sucker down.
Said he's taking the piss. What is this?
I snapped out of it then.
Come on, bro.
That was a good one.
That was good. I snapped out of it then. I immediately pulled away from the door. Then the two came to the window and stared at me. Their eyes were black. Completely black. This time they spoke together. You wanted to speak to us last night, but we couldn't catch up with you. You must let us in. It won't take too long. I remember grabbing my dog and running upstairs. The knocking continued all night.
Dang.
It was getting louder and near furious as the night went on. Only when there was daylight. I would call the cops.
Yeah, whatever they've got over there.
Only when there was daylight did they stop.
Surely they have no soliciting laws over there.
You would think.
Come on now.
I'd call somebody. I immediately called Sam and Becky and told them what had happened.
Oh, bro, you won't believe this.
Oh, bro.
You will not believe this. They told me that the same thing happened to them too, but they couldn't snap out of it. They let them in. I asked them what happened. They said the kids walked around the house a bit and then they left. They said the whole time they were there, they felt this immense sense of terror and doom.
Any unlicensed tellies in here, mate?
We never did upload the video to YouTube. Doing so just made it feel like if we'd done that, it would have been inviting them to come back. A few weeks later, I got a message from Sam's brother. Him and Becky had been involved in a car accident. They had been driving near Cannock Chase when they lost control of the car and ended up wrapping it around a tree. They didn't make it. I have no way of telling for sure whether them letting the black-eyed children into their house was the cause for this. But the fact that they did, and they died near Cannock Chase, and it didn't make sense to me that maybe if I had let them in, I would be dead too. I still get nightmares of them. I still sometimes worry that they're going to stand outside my door one day and ask me to let them in. I wake up in the middle of the night screaming, terrified. I spend hours at night debating whether to take a peek outside of the window, because if I do and they're there, they may see me. But the thought of not looking is also equally as terrifying, because what if they're there just waiting? Waiting for me to slip up. Well, I won't. Do you hear me? I won't. I've taken precautions now. I've gotten myself some more dogs. Lots of dogs, in fact.
I stuck pencils in both my ears.
Because if one of them can stop me from opening the door, maybe half a dozen will scare them off for good.
Righto, mate. My pack of dogs is going to take
My
you
pack
down.
of bugs. They're all behind her.
Cheerio.
They're hackling. I never leave the house without them. They follow me everywhere.
We're going head down to the pub, right? Give me a nice pint. Watch Manchester. Got my 6 rightos coming around. Carry on.
Some people think that I'm crazy.
No way.
But I'm not crazy. I'm
not
just being
crazy.
safe. Because they're not going to get me. I promise.
I'm not
swear.
crazy. They're crazy.
Thank you so much for joining us in today's episode. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Did you guys have any thoughts on that?
Jerry.
No, we're good. We got a ball game to watch.
All right, Thunder and 6, baby. Let's go.
Let me go ahead and close
It's
this
gonna
out.
be a good one, isn't it, bruv?
I hate Kevin Durant. All right, Manchester United gonna go take the piss on him. Said, cheerio.
Thank you so much for joining us in today's episode. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe. We want to hear from you. Leave a comment or topic ideas in the description below, right? No.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's in there.
Leave some.
It's your job.
Leave some topic,
Hopefully it's in there.
leave topic ideas in the comments, or find our email in the description box below to send us your scary stories. Also, comment. Please comment.
A comment.
Anything. What do you got? Thunder and 6? That's who I got. All right.
Do
Hit us
you
up on
believe in
Prize
black-eyed
Picks.
children?
Use our link down
Prize
below.
picks.
You get $50 deal every $10.
Tell us what you think that black-eyed children are. Demons, vampires, ghosts? Give us your opinion. Find us here next time on the Fear and Flame podcast.
Hit us up on Friday, next Friday. Like, subscribe, comment,
Whoop, whoop.
share.
All the fun
Hit us up on
stuff.
TikTok.
BEC, 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 BEK.